and see if that helped. Okay, that helped a little bit. Richella, honey, please. Richella's decided to become active the instant I started live. I was actually using her as a backstop. So you'll just have to give me just a moment, and I'll have to put some books behind her. Problem is, I got Summer behind her. Now, no one was expecting me, so you're not really being helpful, honey. Matter of fact, you're knocking everything freaking over. I love you, bud. Honey, please, thank you, love you and all. They're not used to me going live anymore, so they're like, you're invading our space. And I guess technically I am. Okay, I guess that will work. Yeah, it's because Summer and Richella were both behind you. Now let me get Chad up. Like I said, no one was expecting me, but there was some big Leticia news. And we will go ahead and start to get to it. The receipt is on my community tab. So that's where we will start. I just have to laugh because it's Leticia. Yes, Leticia has been arrested. Leticia Collins, age 37, white, booking time 8:37 a.m. Booking date 3/6/2025. That's today. So she's been booked for about 5 hours. Now I found this earlier, but I was just gonna wait until more people were up and about. Now her charges are criminal trespass. That's because she wouldn't leave mommy's house. Disorderly conduct. That was her, no doubt, just being her. And then aggravated assault upon a certified law enforcement officer or an employee of a correctional facility. So that means she touched the cop when they were trying to eject her. Now, normally on the other two charges, she would probably already be out. But because she put her hands on a law enforcement officer, let me get my volume down. They're going to keep her. So now she was on YouTube suspension. I have to laugh because, she could just make a mess of her life like no other human being possibly can. Hello, Ronnie. Glad you're here, because that means I can play some Leticia video here in a little bit later, or at least her audio. But yes, it didn't take her long to get a week-long ban and get herself put back in jail. Now, if you watch my last short video, we talked about her mania. And this is the result of her mania. She just flat out goes off, goes into her own little world, and then makes up her own little rules. Now, with her now ex-boyfriend Robert, she had to be on best behavior. That didn't last long. And then once she got right back into mom's house, it was the same dynamic. It was just like she never left. Hello, Joel. Hello, Elizo. But yes, she is a nutbag. Now, she has been going so fast, I had to scrap 8 planned videos, and I've just been watching and, it's kind of cataloging what's going on for the most part, but since she was live 24/7, it was kind of hard to catalog everything going on. Hello, Sherry. Now, for the people that's new here, I'm one of the original people that was covering Leticia. She's banned my main 3 channels. if in her chat, I'm Blood God Games. That's my little gaming channel that's got next to no subscribers. But anybody that covers Leticia, it's funny. She'll watch. If you cover Leticia, she will watch you incessantly. But she will also ban you where you cannot talk in her chats. Anyone that links any of her videos, she immediately bans them. Well, Sherry, she just got arrested this morning at about 8:30. So that was 9:30 my time, and it's 1:30 now. So she's only been in jail for a handful of hours. Now, she probably won't have got into court today. She will probably get to see a judge tomorrow. And then he will decide what to do with her. Now, this is kind of the reason for the live, because once again, there's ways this can go. I feel like deja vu, because we've been here before. Multiple times with Leticia. But, I read off the chart. The charges are on my community tab. I read them off at the very beginning of this live a few minutes ago. But the third one, the laying hands on a law enforcement officer, that's the one, again, that's going to get her into trouble. So she's got to go in front of a judge. Today is Thursday. Every state, every county has their own little different court schedule. But I am betting that she is going to have a hearing in the morning because it's Friday. Because typically if you get put in on the weekend, you got to wait until Monday to see a judge. And because of that 3-day stretch, that's why I'm thinking likely tomorrow morning there will be a judge. And she will get to see him. Now, once again, this should normally be a quick and easy thing, but this is Leticia. So Leticia is going to talk to this judge. And as you know, Leticia is going to talk as Leticia does talk. So she could put in 3 days for observation. Now, normally someone would say that is the small chance. Except for me. I say that one's the most likely. Now, the judge will have her entire criminal record and have all of her bullshit in front of her. Now, she makes out that she was declared innocent. She was declared not guilty by reason of insanity. And this is why I do believe that the most likely thing is he's going to put her in the nut hut for 3 days. Because as the judge, there's not much you can do with her. Really, I mean, they're not. One reason why she stays in Arkansas with her mother is because they will not permanently institutionalize her. If Leticia was in New York would put her away and she would never see the light of day again. Florida, for example, would probably put her away for a stretch and then eventually release her. But New York's one of the, shall we say, despite the fact of their laws that we normally think of them for, when it comes to the mentally ill, they will put someone permanently away in a minute. Hello, Michigan lady. Hello, Robert. But yeah, it's going to be up to that judge tomorrow on how long she's in jail. Now, she has nowhere to go because her first charge was for trespass. And that was for mom saying, "Get the fuck out, you loser." So we're back to the homeless Leticia arc. So once again, judges are usually pretty reasonable people. Not always, but usually. So this is the judge's dilemma. We put her in the nut hut for observation. We toss her out on the street, or we keep her in jail. And he also on that file is going to have all the fucked up shit she did in jail. And if you're new here, I mean, it's like where to start. She was throwing trays, throwing food on the wall, wiping crap on the walls. So once again, do you want that in your jail? You know, because once again, people are going to criticize whatever happens. So I'm just kind of trying to put you into the judge's position for a minute. But these are his three bad options. Nut hut, hold her in jail, and have her act out or toss her out on the street. Which will probably just get the cops called on her about 5 or 6 more times and yet more charges. Hello, Robert. Hello, Tiger Mama. But these are the options for the judge. I mean, none of them are good. None of them are good at all. So if you're the judge, what do you do? Now, Roger has decided as the judge, I throw her at the nut hut. She'll have minimum 3 days of observation, and depending on what she says, she could get kept for a long, long time. Now, once again, Leticia knows what to say. She's been through this shit again and again. So if and twice before, when she was put in the nut hut, she came right back out of the nut hut after 3 days. Hello, Cass. Well, actually, Ronnie, Mom's just tired of this bullshit. Now think of it. She had 9 months of her hanging out with Robert. And that had to have been heaven for her. Now, once again, one of the videos that I had scrapped was talking about her manipulation mode. Because that's why she can go in for 3 days and come right back out of the nut hut when she's obviously nuttier than a bag of mixed nuts. Just saying. She knows what she is doing. Her main issue is schizophrenia and mania. And whenever she doesn't get her way, her solution is to engage in mania until she gets her way. She has done this ever since she has been a child. And Gail is just sick of it. And I don't blame Gail in that. You know, Gail enables Leticia because of her own guilt. And that's the mother-daughter dynamic. Now, of course, Leticia takes advantage of this whenever she can. But, you know, this is where Leticia stands. Now, he could hold her in until a trial. It is a possibility. And if so, she's going to make that jail a living hell. Now, she acted out worse when she was in Illinois jail. But once again, the Arkansas jail, she's basically got them trained. You know, she's going to throw food, she's going to make a fit, and they're flat out not even going to want her. Now, that could get her landed in the nut hut, because if you talk weird to any cop can get you put in the nut hut for a few days. And I believe that, I'm trying, it's been a couple years now, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened in Illinois. Is she got her observation, they said she's good, they put her back in jail, and she acted out enough with the poop on the wall shit, literally, that they then put her back in the nut hut for another observation. So even if the judge doesn't put her in the nut hut, her behavior in the jail could get her 3 days in the nut hut. So you see where I go back to where normally the nut hut would be the small percentage chance, but this is why I think the nut hut is the big percentage chance. Oh, he is Cass. Now, I didn't get into it, but one thing I keep on the property is a bottle of enzymes that is skunk smell remover. I bought it many, many, many years ago before I had seizures because I always said I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And most rural vets, you can buy it. And it looks like a bottle of shampoo, but it's not. It's something that will get the smell off. And like I say, it's literally enzymes that will break down that smell and get it off of them. You know, I didn't put that in my post. Well, it used to be. I mean, when I had money, I was prepared for anything. You know, it's not that cases now as it used to be. But yes, this is what Leticia is. I had to take a hit just in honor of Leticia. Now, also about Mania. Robert was her weed. You notice that when she was sitting around the house, she was a much more calm Leticia because Robert had to keep her lubricated, no doubt. And as soon as she had to move in with Mom, her free weed was gone. So, once again, you saw the Leticia that doesn't hardly sleep because she had no weed to wind her down, and she would just go with Mania till about dawn. And, I mean, I'm trying to, for your sake, I'm trying to put into words what I saw with Leticia, but it was a Mania shit show. I guess that would be the way to put it. An absolute, total, manic shit show. Now, like I say, I have to shake my head. Now, she was only going to, a first strike, you're only banned for a week from live streaming. And, I mean, she would only had to wait like 4 or 5 more days, and she could have lived. But her first charge is for trespassing. So, they were trying to remove her from Mommy's, and she said no. Now, before she was living in a car, but she has no car now. Now, typically her first goal would be to hook up with another guy. But at 37 years old, it's not as easy to hook up as it used to be. And I'm thinking about Robert, and I'm like, wow. Now, she says she met Robert through a dating site. I'm betting Robert bought weed from her brother. That's what I'm betting. I'm betting that she did not find him through a dating site. I believe that was a lie. Now, that is my belief, and it may or may not prove to be true. We will see one day. Now, her mom actually did fear enough for her and the cat that she left. Now, that told me something. That told me that this isn't even right by her mother's standards. because her mother has never taken herself and the cat out of the premise. I mean, she literally was afraid for her safety and the animal safety. Now, if I was her, I would always be afraid of the animal safety around Leticia because we do know what Leticia has done and will do. Man. Oh, I mean, the girl is something else. I'm trying, when I've paused for a minute, I'm trying not to laugh. Let's be honest, because, I mean, it is a total shit show. Because I thought about going live a couple times while she was on her moments, but I'm like, I mean, how would I even present this? And then I start laughing, and that kind of ends about there. I mean, my job is to make sense of it, make it coherent, make commentary about it. I mean, you weren't making sense of any of that. I mean, that made as much sense as drinking a chocolate bar with nougat. Well, Michigan lady, I wouldn't doubt if she is. Now, I do know that Nicolina sent her a morning after pill. Now, that was a waste of her time because Leticia wouldn't take it. She would just throw it out because Leticia would immediately think that, you know how she is. I mean, she thinks the fucking devices are listening to her. She thinks the government sees and knows all. I mean, the government is the village idiot, and she gives them magical power, omniscient powers to see and know all. But the thing is that's a part of her schizophrenia. You see, there's the fake crazy. And a lot of the crazy that you see is fake. And then there's the real crazy. Now, she really does believe that all the devices are watching us. And she does believe in all of these magical powers that she believes the government has. Now, guess what? She don't believe most of the rest of her bullshit. She's not consistent about it. Well, if you were a family member of hers, you got a good reason to be scared. And this is why her sister does not put up with her shit. And I think that Leticia is jealous and afraid of her sister. Because I think her sister's ready to go upside her head. No, but I can be if you like. I mean, if you pay me enough, I'll be anything you want me to be. Just saying. But yes, Leticia, I mean, she want to act out. I mean, this is what she's going to do when she gets back out of jail. Now, once again, one thing I do here is tell you what's going to happen. We will know when she gets out of jail and gets near a power outlet. Put it that way. You know, if her phone has charge when she gets out of jail, we will see that minute and she'll be on the side of the road e-bagging a hotel. If she has charge. If she doesn't have charge, her first thing will be get to someplace she can get a charge, and then she will immediately go live. Now, I guess she'll have about 3.5 more days on her YouTube ban, but I don't expect her to see a judge until the morning. And then I expect her to be in the nut hut for a few days. Michigan lady, I think she stopped taking the meds before she came back on YouTube. Because if you look at her first videos, she was nesting with Robert. She was the queen of the house, and she was basically puppeting Robert all over the place. You know, whatever she said, she would get him to agree to. Now, once again, this gaslighting that she of reality that she does, that is one thing that she takes satisfaction in. You know, when she had a man to puppet. Now, think about back in her homeless days in the car. Remember, she would say, I want a man to bother. And that meant for her to pick at, manipulate, to gaslight, to get to say black is white, and puppies like to be frozen. And at that point, I really think that she could have got Robert to say anything, because if you look at him, he looked pretty incelly. No offense against the dude. You know, I'm sure that if he did some diet and exercise, he could do a lot better than Leticia. Just saying. Well, Dixon, yes, well, the thing is with her probation, I think there was an Arkansas charge she was on probation for. But most of the rest of it, she got out of by not guilty by reason of insanity. And this is why I believe she will end up going to the nut hut. Because there's not much the judge can do with her. You know, you put her in jail, she wipes shit on the walls. You let her out, the cops are just going to have to keep picking her back up. You know, it's like when you're pitching, sometimes you walk the batter because it's your best strategy. And that's kind of what I'm thinking that the nut hut is for the poor judge. You know, it's his way of walking the batter so he can just get this out of his face and he can deal with the next one. But once again, the other time she went to the nut hut, she knows what to tell the nut hut to get out. So that's why I expect tomorrow she will go in front of the judge and he will decide her fate. Now, if she had, the third charge is laying hands on a cop. That's the one that is not going to go away. The disorderly conduct and the trespassing, they would have just blown that off. Nothing would have happened for those two charges alone. They'd have probably just dismissed it and went on. But she laid her hands on a cop. I do not know how. I just know what the charge is. Well, Michigan lady, that's how I look at it for a family. They're getting a break. Now, this is my guess she will see a judge in the morning. She got put in at 8:35 her time. You know, so she probably could not got into court today if there was a Thursday court. In every county, in every state, they have court on different days. But most of them do have courts on Fridays or a Monday because of the weekends. And that's why I believe she will see one tomorrow. Now, there is an outside chance that she might not see like if they have like a Thursday Monday schedule, there's a chance that she might not even see a judge until Monday. Now, I do not think that this is the most likely chance, but it is a possibility. But like I say, I think there's about 3.5 days on her YouTube ban, and she will be back. But she could be out tomorrow. if he gives her own recognizance, if he don't want to, but once again, every time that she's let out, she ends up getting the cops called on her. But yeah, he could just toss her back out. And I would say that would be a high percentage, except for charge 3 of laying hands on a cop. That's where I think there is a chance that she could get held over until more court. But once again, whenever they put her in jail, she'll throw food and wipe shit on the walls. So, I mean, what do you do? Now, if you were a man and acting like that, they would just beat the holy shit out of you until you decided not to. But they won't lay a hand on Leticia. Leticia wants them to lay hands on her so then she can play the victim and sue. I mean, I've never talked about this, but that's one of her games with the cops. Is she tries to incite them to physically harm her so then she can sue. Well, yeah, B. I mean, well, like I said, if you just came in at 8:30 something this morning, Central Standard Time, Leticia got arrested for trespassing, disorderly conduct, and laying hands on a law enforcement officer. I know none of the exact details other than the trespassing is going to be at Mommy's. They told her, now, once again, she was trying to make out to the cops that night that she lived there. She's not been there long enough to be a resident. I mean, it's like if I got thrown out of my girlfriend's house and crashed on mother's couch, I'm not a resident at mom's. I'm a guest. I've only been there a few days after leaving my former place of residence. Now, what she was doing was committing food stamp fraud. And she was using Mommy to do that. She had her disability. She was living with Robert for 9 months, but she was still putting herself on Mommy's food stamp card and making out that she was living with Mommy. In that way, she could get food stamps. Because if she's living with Robert, she would have to charge his household income as a part of it. So that's one thing that she's currently getting away with for the last 9 months is food stamp fraud. Now, she will either get away with that or it will come back on her and both her and her mother will lose the food stamps. But the only mail she was getting was being on her mother's food stamp card. And she was claiming to be a resident at her mother's. Because her mother, of course, doesn't have an income. So they get good food stamps. And she wasn't living there. Living with Robert as a part of another household with a different income. So therefore she was committing food stamp fraud. That's another one of my videos. Remember how I had mentioned I scrapped a whole bunch of videos? Food stamp fraud was one of my videos. So, I'm just mentioning it as an afterthought now. But yes, she has been committing food stamp fraud. And she will probably skate on that one. Now, the interesting thing is she's still on her mother's food stamps. Her mother needs to call the food stamp place and have Leticia taken off the card. But, that's what when the cops first got there, the fact that she was having food stamp fraud and using mother's address is the reason why the cops immediately assumed she was a resident. And of course, Leticia was not going to tell them otherwise. So that's kind of the status right now of Leticia. She's in jail, waiting to see the judge. Now, the thing is with Leticia, the judges like here in Arkansas and Hot Springs, they are not going to be virgin to Leticia. In fact, Leticia will probably see a judge that Leticia has been in front of before. So just imagine being that poor judge. You're sitting there living your own life, being a judge, you got your gavel, and then they bring her in again. Oh, man. I mean, that would be just like shitting in your frickin' Wheaties. I mean, if I was someone else behind her in court, I'd be like, oh my God, we're all fucked. Because she's going to piss off the judge. See, that's one of the bright things. My last name is Brown. That means when I go to court, I am one of the first people to see the judge before anyone else can piss the judge off. When I go into court, I hope that there's not an asshole with a last name with A. Now, Leticia is, of course, a C. So, like I say, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to get a really pissed off judge, and there's going to be Leticia to blame. Well, Michigan lady, you're right. This is what needs to happen. And as I mentioned, many other states, she would be put away. Here, she would get a long stay in Oakwood. Now, the Oakwood would probably keep her about 9 or 10 months. Here. Now, Florida, they'd keep her a long time. Maybe forever. Now, New York would put her in the nut hut forever. And they would not let her out ever. But like I said, Leticia knows how to game the system. In Arkansas, in their nut hut, it's easy in and easy out. And this is why Leticia keeps going back to mommies. Because as long as she stays in Arkansas, no matter what happens, all she's going to get is a slap on the wrist. Oh, they have facilities, but they don't want to have to deal with Leticia. Because she's always acting out. Because that's her gimp. That's what she does. She acts out till she gets her way. And once again, if you were a male, they would just kick the crap out of you. They would beat you senseless for the way that Leticia acts. Leticia, however, knows they're not going to hit her. Leticia wants the cops to hit her. Because then she wants to be able to get her $1 million. I mean, Leticia loves playing the victim. If you haven't noticed. Now, an interesting thing, recently she did put up a lot of her old videos. Not all of them. But she did go back and I'm not sure exactly how many videos she threw up, but I would say at least 50 of her videos from 2 years ago. Maybe more. So there is now some old Leticia content. Now, all of her videos are on Rumble. So, I do have that as a resource when I do want to go back and show new people what originally happened. But anybody got any questions? I think I've about covered the basics. The what's going on and where we can go with this. Well, once again, she didn't get her way. So her solution is to act out. And it got her thrown out of Roberts. And that shocked her. She did not expect that Robert would shuffle her to the curb because, as we know, now another one of the videos I scrapped was Leticia and her high opinion of herself. I mean, Leticia acts like she's a supermodel in her own opinion of herself. And of course she's not. She's just a crazy ass. Now, once again, she's late 30s now. I mean, every time everyone 35 or under, you have a certain amount of youthful appeal. But, once you start getting over 35 years old, you start to become invisible to the opposite sex. Now, this has already happened for Leticia. When Leticia went into jail, she was quite svelte, other than being pregnant. Now Leticia weighs more than I do. And she comes up to about here on me. So, I mean, just imagine that. Leticia comes up to about here on me, and she weighs more than I do. When she said that she's over 210 pounds, I went, wow. Now, Leticia, from old Leticia, she'd be horrified at her weight. But she's not. Now, once again, I'm rewinding time a little bit. So that would put her and Robert having got together about late June of last year. So that was probably the instant that she got off supervision. I hadn't figured that out before, but just running the math in my head, yeah, as soon as she got off of court supervision and stopped having to play the good girl, she would have immediately got with Robert. And she has spent 9 months puppet mastering him. Now, we saw her pregnancy. That lasted 9 months. So to put this into context, imagine the whole, if you've been here the entire time, the whole pregnancy arc in time, but imagine a relationship arc where Leticia is doing nothing but manipulating Robert into parroting whatever reality she wants. Now, once again, after 9 months of this, Leticia is going to be pretty comfortable with her puppet master role. So this came as a nuclear bomb to her, getting tossed out from Robert's and Robert's mom. Because think about it, Robert's mom has been dealing with this for 9 months too. Hoping at some point that he'll just make it go away. Now, the call with Robert's mom, another one of the videos I scrapped because Robert's pretty irrelevant at this point, is that was their confrontation. That was their chess match. That was Leticia versus mom for the soul of Robert. And as you can see, Leticia lost that chess match. And she lost it handily. Now, from listening to that, it sounded like, Roberts was going to come into some money. And this is why Leticia got with him and puppet mastered him for 9 months, because, well, I got to watch my words here for a minute, but I mean, think about Leticia. Robert could get a large inheritance, and Leticia is a psycho that believes she can get away with anything. So I will say no more, and I will let you do the math. So in reality, I believe that as society goes, we've had a best case scenario. Robert's parents don't get accidentally poisoned or put in a freezer. He's free of the villain. And Mother's also free of Letitia. And once again, I normally don't feel bad for judges, but I do if you're a judge in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Just saying. So yes, Leticia will no doubt go in front of a judge that she's been in front of before. And this would be, I can imagine being the judge. They bring her in, the first thing go, oh man. You know, I can see the bailiffs taking the pepper spray, and I can see them like unsnapping it so they can grab it kind of quickly. You know, I can see them kind of, you know, popping the little latch on their cuffs so they can grab them easily. And of course, she's going to run her mouth to the judge. And she's going to tell that judge that he is wrong. And that's not going to go over well. Just saying. Now, once again, judges tend to be fair. Not always. But like I said, it's nut hut, held until the next hearing, or they just toss her out on the street. Now, they have tossed her out on the street. But because of the third charge, putting hands on the cop, is why I don't think that's going to happen. Hello, Mr. A Sigma. But yeah, I think that, but now, if she does get let out tomorrow, we will probably know in 3 days. Maybe sooner. Because there'll be people that's going to be checking her booking daily. So there's a good chance by tomorrow evening I might have a new update. Because what is going to happen is after she gets seen by a judge, they're going to schedule a next hearing, and what will happen in the morning will probably be on the books by evening, by the time that court is out, well, not court out of session, but the court's done with the business for the day, by 4 o'clock p.m. So, well, we got a good chance of knowing something tomorrow evening. So we will see about that. And if there is anything like that, I will do a quick 1 minute or 2 minute video update on what's going on if there is a court filing that lets us know what's going on next. Well, I missed being flashed. I did miss where she got in trouble, but you know, she's was live constantly, so you know, people, I have to like eat and live my life, and to be honest, there's only so much I can stand of her. I mean, I've got about a 45-minute threshold with her at this point. Now, as I mentioned before, she watches everything that's done or said about her. If she had if she had the ability to do it, she would be watching this live. Now she don't. Now she will probably watch the replay when she gets out of jail at some point. So she may actually see what you say in the comments. Because like I said, she is a subscriber to this channel. Oh man, she just fucks herself constantly. I mean, she just completely got out of trouble, and as soon as the relationship went south with the first guy, back into jail again. Now, that's something that people don't really realize is she bounces in and out of jail. Her first stint into jail was her showing up at the ex's house and repeatedly and being a problem. That got her in jail. This whole last thing with her last saga with the baby and the boyfriend that wouldn't say yes, that got her in jail. She immediately disintegrates with Robert again, and she's immediately in jail. The bitch cannot do a breakup without landing in jail. And this is a fact. This is her pattern throughout her, well, ever since she got married the first time. Well, I know when she went off the meds. As soon as she got Robert hooked. Because she was probably still on the meds when she hooked up with him. We hope that he did not say, you know what, I kind of like this level of crazy. Let's go with it. So that's why I believe that she was probably still on the meds when they hooked up. And once again, Leticia, just ask her, knows all. So then she immediately went off the meds. I've been there with the girls hiding their crazy. I tend to attract women that are crazy, and always at the beginning of the relationship, there's the 3 months that they try to hide the crazy as much as humanly possible. So this is probably what happened with Robert. And Robert, being a doormat, he took it for another 6 months. Well, Belle, what it is she probably didn't do the return thing. She never would leave. Because if you listen to her, well, actually, my last time listening to her, she was going on saying, you can't throw me out. And so that's what she will have done with the cops. When they came to remove her, they said, you can't throw me out. And then they no doubt went to escort her out. And that's when she laid hands on the cop and resisting arrest. That would be also, that'd be the disorder, because there's 3 charges. Trespassing, disorderly conduct, and the putting the hands on the cop. So, the disorderly conduct would have been her acting out until the moment she put her hands on the cop, who was no doubt just trying to escort her off the premises. Well, Robert's mom did correct, because she violates restraining orders like a kid. Let's put it that way. You tell a little kid no, he's just going to go ahead and do it anyway. And that's just like Leticia. Because she actually believes that there is no repercussions other than what a little kid would get, despite the fact of her already being in jail. Possibly sneaky suspicion. But Arkansas is always the one that lets her get away with the most. So, there we go. Now, if they put her in the nut hut, she knows what to tell them, so she will just be out in 3 days. With a court hearing pending. So it is what it is because they psychologically examined her different times repeatedly. And I said, there's no way they're going to let her out. And then they let her out. And once again, after that happened twice, that shows me that Leticia knows exactly what to tell them. But, once again, if they put her in jail until another hearing, all she's going to do is wipe crap on the walls. And I don't think they want that. So, once again, the Nut Hut seems to be the best option, but they may just throw her on the street until a hearing. And if so, she's going to have, first thing she'll do is get her phone or get a charge. Then she will immediately come onto YouTube as quick as she can, and then she will start e-begging. We will get Christian Leticia, because every time that Leticia needs money really bad, you're getting pushed over by a cat. She'll turn to God. And she will hope that some godly person will help her. Now, once again, she's got a few more days on her YouTube suspension. So they could cut her loose for a few days and her have no way to e-beg except for her Facebook. So that is one thing that will have to be checked, is her Facebook. Probably tomorrow afternoon. Well, once again, it's by the state. Many states would not put up with Leticia. They would put her away. In fact, a large percentage of the states would, over just the last stuff that she's done recently, they'd put her away for months. But Arkansas does not. Now, one of the reasons why is because Arkansas is a corrupt state. And they don't want to spend their money on services, because that's less money they can steal if it's used for services. And Hot Springs, Arkansas is not known for responsible government. Let's just put it that way. For political novices, this isn't a political channel, but Hot Springs, Arkansas is where Bill Clinton came out of in all of the Clintons and the Clintons shenanigans. So, just to kind of give you an FYI, to give you some kind of idea of the political machinations of where she is at. So, they're not really interested in helping the people, because Hot Springs, Arkansas is a resort town. They're more interested in gambling and getting tax money from visitors. Now, you see, this is kind of the problem with Leticia, though, is she kind of, well, let's put it this way. Her last time, she kept getting a hotel room. She'd get out of jail, she would get a hotel room, and then get thrown out of the hotel. Let me think. One time she threatened to burn down the hotel. That got the cops called on her and thrown out of the hotel. Another time I think she was damaging the room in the hotel. And then there was another one she got thrown out of too. But, oh yeah, she was gaslighting self-harm. I couldn't remember the third reason why, but yes, she was gaslighting self-harm. That she was going to then and there. And that got her tossed out again, and that was another time that the police had to show up. Oh, it was Mom's house. Because her first charge is for trespass. Second, disorderly conduct. And third, for laying hands on a law enforcement officer. And the receipts, if you want to see the exacts, are on my community tab. And it was 8:26 a.m., I believe it was, her time. So it was about 9:30 a.m. our time in the East Coast when she got arrested. So once again, I decided to wait a few hours because, people that got their morning. So I thought sometime afternoon I'll live and talk about it. But yeah, she's sitting and holding right now. Oh man, I always feel, I empathize and I think, can you imagine being in holding? Can you imagine that, you got in trouble for something and you got put in jail and then you get put into holding with Leticia? Now, the male and the female holding, of course, is different. So it's even worse for, a girl. Because if you're in guys holding and someone's annoying, someone's going to say, shut the fuck up, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. But no, just imagine being a girl and you shoplifted or you wrote a bad check. And then you're put into jail with Leticia. And you can't get out. You're in a small bedroom-sized area, a dozen of you, and you got to listen to her go on endlessly. And of course, Leticia, when she's in holding, she's trying to gaslight everyone to take her side. So like I said, your day is ruined, you're in jail, and you're in holding with Leticia. Well, Belle, see, like I mentioned before, much of her mental illness is fake. She does have mental illness. She does have schizophrenia and mania. And she really does believe that the government is watching all of us. And she believes all of that. But the rest is pretty fake. Just a minute, everyone. Blow my nose. Apologies. But yeah, like I mentioned before, a lot of her mental illness is fake. But the mania and the schizophrenia is not. She really does believe the government watches us all through the devices. Because she does not understand how it all works. Now, the government does, with a supercomputer, soak up all the signals it can, and then the supercomputer runs it for keywords. But that's the extent of the omnipotent power of the NSA, where she literally actually believes that there's a human being watching everything that everyone does, where obviously there would not be enough manpower for there to be a person to watch everyone, because it would require all of us to have the job of watching other people in order for the government to watch us all. Take care, Sneaky. Well, this isn't going to be a real long live. I just wanted to lay out everything, talk about what's going on, catch up a little bit. So, like I say, we're not going to be here overly long. I'll probably go about another 20 minutes, recap this, and then go away from YouTube for a few days. But yes, this is what's going on with her. But I do think that there's about a 25% chance that they will just shuffle her back out the door tomorrow. And if so, she will beg on Facebook. I'm trying to think if she has anywhere she could get resource at, but I really don't think so. Now, it turned out, I found out on her 9-month excursion pregnant, it was two old Christian ladies that were mainly giving her money because she would never go without a meal. But what it is these women were worried about the baby she was carrying, and Leticia was using it. Now, this is speculation. I would not doubt if she fakes a pregnancy. You know, given her situation right now, I would not doubt if she fakes a pregnancy so she can try to get support. This is a theory. This is pure speculation. But I do believe that it is a high percentage chance that she is going to tell us that she is pregnant, if she is pregnant or not. So, once again, this is what I think is going to happen. Don't know if it is going to happen. So, you can quote me, but don't write it in the bank. Just put it that way. Don't bank on it, but I do believe that that is what she will do, because she is one of the most manipulative creatures in the world, and this is one of the few trump cards that she will have. She will come out all godly and want some nice Christian ladies to help her. Hold on, everyone. I've had a broken leg. One of the reasons why there's not been content for me in a long time is I have had a broken leg and a broken foot. And it's very healed. You might even call it healed. But sometimes it hurts bad enough that I have to prop my leg up. So that's what we're doing here right now. I had to shift position because I can't sit there like that anymore, because I am about to hit the freaking ceiling because my leg hurts. Oh. Well, Belle, the thing is she's manic. Sleeping pills is not going to bring down a manic person. Now, to give you an idea of what mania starts to feel like, is remember when you were in a car accident. You know how, hyped up you feel, and like someone's doing that to you? That's what mania is like. When you just get out of a car accident, that is the feeling of mania. And that's what she is feeling inside at every moment. When you have that feeling, you just want it to go away. Well, when you're literally a maniac, because that's where we get the word mania from, she is literally a maniac, because mania is her main issue. So just imagine being stuck in that state and you can't get out of it. Now imagine more having schizophrenia on top of it and having all of these weird delusions that people are watching you and, aliens and God. A lot of her God delusions are just that, God delusions. Now, for those of you that don't know, Leticia went to a Catholic school. And this is how she learned to manipulate using God, because she had to deal with a bunch of nuns. So that's why she always likes to use God as a rebuttal point, because this is what she grew up with, was trying to use God to bullshit the nuns in school. So, that is what she does with God. But once again, she likes to use God as her funding agent also. So when she gets out, you're going to see Mania. You're going to see a victim. She's going to tell you wrong, but she's also going to try to wrap it all in God. It will be mental gymnastics at its finest. You know, if they would give an Olympic event for mental gymnastics, Leticia would win the gold every 4 years. Yep, voted Miss Outgoing. Where the thing is most people were probably voting her for Miss Go the Fuck Away. Well, you know what? That reminded me though. I'll have to check her Instagram. For those that don't know her Instagram, it is Miss Outgoing. Oh, but yes, I would say most people voted her Miss Go the Fuck Away. Well, she feeds on it. I mean, where many people have a cycle. Like Amber Reed has a eating and a lying cycle. You know, Leticia has a mania cycle. And it all coincides with men. You know, the first is recapping the first husband, her first jail. She violated protective orders and got put in jail. The fake accusations, the threatening of people, that got her put in jail the last time. Over the guy that wasn't even the father of her little baby, Jason. You know, Jason, I forgot his name for a moment, but yes, Jason was the reason why the second time, and now the third time is Robert. Whenever she is rejected by a male, you get Super Mania Leticia. Now, I was kind of, laid back in the beginning trying to analyze manipulative Leticia. And that's why I really hadn't did any more content on it, because I was busy looking at the manipulative dynamic between her and Robert and planning on talking about that. But I mean, she blew up that relationship faster than Hiroshima. Put it that way. Well, the thing is, I don't think in her state, her family can have her put away. You remember how I mentioned different states in like Florida? In Florida, the family could put her away. Now, for those that watch Adrastia, that is why Adrastia, the real reason Adrastia left Florida and went to California. Because Adrastia's family in Florida could have put her in the nut hut. That's where, covering one locale, I learned about another. But yes, so in Arkansas, her mom can't do that. Now here they couldn't either. But Leticia, the way that she acts, they'd put her in the nut hut, no doubt. And they would probably keep her in the nut hut here 9 or 10 months before they let her out. You know, now I know a little bit about it because one of the McCoys up the street, he did a long stint in the nut hut. So I got to talk to him and learn of the little ins and outs of the system, which is why I was saying that Leticia here would probably get about 9 or 10 months in the nut hut. They wouldn't keep her forever, but they would keep her for a regimen of treatment. Well, Belle, the thing is with her probation, that was only in Arkansas. And they really can't monitor her, and they won't. Because once again, Arkansas is an inattentive state. They're not really interested in giving services. They're interested in getting services. I mean, this is Hot Springs, Arkansas. Casey, do you really think I'm going to let her around my animals and property? I mean, she was ready to burn down her daughter's crib. Oh, man. I mean, she'd just end up having to go missing if she was around here. Just saying. I mean, her shit would not fly in my local neighborhood. Once again, I don't talk about, the people around here, but one of the ladies that married into the McCoy family would literally rip Leticia into little tiny pieces. I have no doubt about it. She would not put up with her for 5 minutes. And I, of course, would not trust her with any of the animals. Speaking of which, excuse me, everyone, just one moment. Richella was sleeping behind you. Richella and Summer are both sleeping behind you. Now, she's lost some weight, but she's tired of her food. So we've been trying to encourage her to eat. So I've been giving her hamburger and some cheese and other stuff, and I gave him some catnip earlier. Some people do tune in for the cats, and since I didn't show any of them for this live, I thought at least before I go, grab Richella. The rest of them I keep outside because a bunch of Summer's progeny have gotten to where they're too troublesome to have in the house. Literally. They are something else. Literally something else. But no, Leticia would not work well around me because, see, I don't manipulate. That's why Nicoliner don't like me, because I don't manipulate. I mean, my parents were manipulative people, and it used to eat them up to no end that no one can manipulate me. It's a gift. Now, for someone like Leticia, she would probably get violent around me within a day. I have no doubt she would get violent with me within about a day because I would not entertain her bullshit. In the least. At all. Not even for 5 fucking minutes. And she would have a psychotic breakdown. That was the only way to put it. I was trying to think of a different way to put it, maybe a little more colorful. But no, in my presence, she would have a psychotic breakdown. She's got my channels banned 3 deep, but she watches them everything that I put out. Now, I feel sorry for her only in one way, and that's because she's sick. But to her, that's just a crutch. And as I've mentioned earlier, much of her mental illness is fake, but her schizophrenia and her mania are not. Now, both those two alone, she does deserve her disability. I will say she's not beating the system on that. She does need a check, and she needs to be kept away from fucking society. The problem is She validates herself through relationships and men. And that's going to be her main goal when she gets out, is to find a sugar daddy. Because before, she had a car. Now she doesn't. Now, hold on just a minute, everyone. There is an aspect of this that I forgot about. Let's go over here to Google. And let's look at the weather forecast for Hot Springs, Arkansas. Hot Springs, Arkansas, and weather. It is now 60 degrees in Leticia land. It looks like we got highs in the 60s and lows in the mid 40s. Now, there's a couple days that they're going to get some really cold weather. Like Sunday, it's going to get down to 37. And next Saturday, not this Saturday, it's going to get down to 43. And this Saturday, it's going to get down to 40. Now, the daytimes are going to be high 60s and very low 70s, except for the weekend. Those are going to be highs in the 50s. Now, she's going to be on the street. Now, Leticia is not going to like this as weather. Put it that way. Now, I'm trying to think about what Leticia will do about it. Now, the weather, I don't think they're going to let her out. Because once again, the court is not dumb. That's one thing I always tell people when they get in trouble. The court is not as dumb as you think that it is. Some of the members of the court may be. The prosecutor may be a total idiot, but usually the court as a whole isn't going to be dumb. Now, they're going to know that what this is going to be. Now, the question is are they going to let her out? Now, in another 2 weeks, it'll be decent temperatures overall. I'm thinking for a minute, everyone. Just give me a moment. Giving this as a look. But yes, it's 60 degrees right now in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and partly cloudy. Tomorrow is going to be a high of 71 and a low of 46. So yes, this is going to be up to the judge, but I think he's going to send her for 3 days of observation. It would get her through the coldest part and actually get things to where after that, you wouldn't worry about hypothermia, put it that way. But yeah. Well, the thing is she would be better off with a van. I mean, she actually did okay living in her vehicle. Generally. But as we know before, when she didn't have her vehicle and she was stranded, she e-begged for hotels. Now, if she gets out tomorrow, the only place she has to e-beg on is Facebook. And that will be checked. And like I said, if there's any update on her status tomorrow, I will just do a quick 1 minute to 2 minute vid and just let you know what's going on. Because as I mentioned, I do believe that she will see a judge in the morning. If they had a Thursday court, she might not see a judge until Monday. Because she will have got there, well, she got booked about 8:30. So court would normally be like 9 or 10 o'clock. So she did, if there was a court on a Thursday, she didn't have time to get in it. But every county has a different schedule on their court. If they're on Thursday, Monday, she does not see a judge until Monday. If she's there on Friday, Monday, she sees a judge tomorrow. Now, from my knowledge of the country, most places do have a Friday court. But some people, like the neighboring county to me, theirs is a Thursday, Monday. So like I said, it all depends on what schedule their court's on. Will she see the judge tomorrow or Monday? But I'm betting that she'll see the judge tomorrow. And we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. And as I said, when an update becomes available, you will get it. But she has to spend 3 days in holding before they can put her in a general population if they keep her. So for 3 days, she's in a small room with everyone that they have brought in, and they have to deal with Leticia. And all she's going to do is sit there and manipulate and gaslight them for her ego. Now, thank you for coming. I'll be live a whole lot more, and there'll be a bunch more vids for me. But as I mentioned, I expect the Leticia thing will go dark for a few days, and as soon as there's an update, I will bring it to you. Now, thank you for coming, and have a good day.